Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sarah Traha from the Louisiana Department of Education, and today I will be discussing the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. By the end of the training, participants will understand the federal and state regulations for Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Participants will also understand the requirements and best practices for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. So a little bit of program overview. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program began as a pilot program authorized as part of the 2002 Farm Bill. The pilot was intended to identify best practices for increasing fresh fruits and vegetable consumption among students and to determine the feasibility and student interest. By 2005, the pilot program was operating in 14 states and several Indian tribal organizations. In 2008, the 2008 Farm Bill converted the pilot program into the nationwide Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is a grant program administered at the federal level by USDA and FNS. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is administered at the state level by the Louisiana Department of Education, Division of Nutrition Support and Child Nutrition Programs. At the state level, states are required to select specific elementary schools for funding and to provide oversight of school implementation. Schools are to utilize the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program funds to provide fresh produce to students at no cost. The goal of the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is to increase children's exposure to and consumption of a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables throughout the school day. Teaching children healthful eating habits at an early age helps to promote a healthy school environment and improves the health of students. The goals of the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program can be achieved by expanding the variety of fruits and vegetables children experience throughout the week, increasing fruit and vegetable consumption, and making the difference in the children's diets to impact their present and future health. Fruits and vegetables are good, low-calorie, low-fat sources of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program shows children that fresh fruits and vegetables are healthy and tasty alternatives to snacks high in fat, sugar, or salt. So what are the qualifications to participate in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program? Section 19 of the National School Lunch Act requires that schools with the highest free and reduced price enrollment be given priority for participation in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. This criteria ensures that the program will benefit low-income children that generally have fewer opportunities to consume fresh fruit and vegetables on a regular basis. To determine the schools with the highest free and reduced price enrollment, states may use the school data reported each October. Other criteria include being an elementary school, the school must participate in the National School Lunch Program, and completed the annual application. The total enrollment of all schools selected in the state must result in a per student allocation of $75 per year. Once USDA provides the annual funding limit, LDOE will first award benefits to the returning schools who continue to meet the criteria. After all returning schools have been awarded, the remainder of the balance is awarded to new schools. As a participant in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, you must follow these basic guidelines. Number one, all schools that participate in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program are required to widely publicize the program. Number two, produce must be available at no cost to all enrolled elementary children. Number three, schools are required to provide nutrition education with some components of the program, but it is highly encouraged that complementary nutrition education is regularly provided. Number four, schools must follow appropriate food safety guidelines, which are critical in the prevention of foodborne illness. Number five, all reports should be processed on time in order to receive reimbursement. Number six, all procurement and Buy American standards must be followed. And number 7, the fresh fruit and vegetable produce must be provided separately from all other child nutrition programs and be served during the school day. As best practice, it is encouraged to provide the fresh fruit and vegetable program a minimum of twice a week, offering both fresh fruits and vegetables. Be creative with appearance, delivery, and a variety of fruits and vegetables provided. And communicate, collaborate, and train all staff involved in the fresh fruit and vegetable program. The fresh fruit and vegetable program is intended for elementary school age children. Any child who is considered a member of the school and who is present during operation of the fresh fruit and vegetable program may participate. This includes children that attend a child care center, Head Start program, or a split session kindergarten if they are enrolled in that participating school. Teachers are responsible for serving the fresh fruits or vegetables to their students and are also encouraged to participate in and taste the produce alongside their students to model positive eating habits. Other adults at a school who are not directly involved in the program may not participate. Keep in mind that no additional fresh fruit or vegetable program funds will be provided for teachers. Schools must stay within their per student allocation of $75 per student. For students with disabilities that prevent them from consuming fresh fruits and vegetables, the same rules apply as with the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program. The school must provide accommodations for these students within the constraints of their medical condition as allowed by their physician. A diet prescription signed by a recognized medical authority must be on file. The SFA should make both the parent and the child's physician aware of the program in order to determine which items are acceptable choices for modification. For example, some items may need to be cooked and/or pureed. The parent and physician should select what is suitable. Again, the goal of the fresh fruit and vegetable program is to introduce students to a variety of fresh produce and expose them to unique varieties that are not always seen on a day-to-day basis. There is no minimum serving sizes for the fresh fruit and vegetable program, and it is encouraged to adjust the serving sizes based on the age grade group of the students served. It is also recommended when introducing a new item to start with a smaller taste testing portion. The fresh fruit and vegetable program may only operate during the school day and not during any other child nutrition programs. The fresh fruit and vegetable program may be provided during a year-round school summer session if it is considered part of the regular school year. However, not during summer school or summer programs. It is important to remember that the fresh fruit and vegetable program must be monitored at all times. If serving the fresh fruit and vegetable program during an after-school snack, ensure there is a system in place for picking up leftovers, documentation, and cleanup of the program. So what is allowable on the fresh fruit and vegetable program? Allowable items include any fresh produce variety. You may serve cooked vegetables and prepared dished such as salsa once a week. However, it must be accompanied with nutrition education. Nutrition education is a great opportunity to describe the produce in its original state and provide further information such as nutrient content, food pairings, and recipes. Dips may also be served, but only with vegetables, and the dips must be low-fat, non-fat, and in 1 to 2 tablespoon servings. As a reminder, the intent of the program is for students to connect with the taste of natural, minimally processed fruits and vegetables. Unallowable items include any item that has been processed or preserved, such as freezing, drying, or canning. Juice is an unallowable item as well as smoothies. Dips are not allowed with fruit. If dips are purchased with other funds and served with the fruit may not be claimed using the fresh fruit and vegetable program funds. Fruits with added flavorings or infusions are also not allowed and would include items such as grapples, which is the mixture of a grape and an apple. Coconuts are also not are also an unallowable product under the fresh fruit and vegetable program. The most successful distribution areas for the program will be places where children can easily consume the fruits and vegetables. The techniques used to distribute the produce will depend on a number of factors. Consider grade level, maturity of students, time available to eat the fruits and vegetables, time required for prep and service, extra cleanup, garbage concerns, and staffing issues. Multiple delivery methods are allowed and encouraged with this program. For example, produce can be delivered to each classroom every day, as well as having baskets of fresh fruit available in the hallways for when children pass between classes. Kiosks may be located around the school, plus free produce and vending machines may be offered. Produce can be set up in the cafeteria if it is convenient, but the produce may not be offered during the school breakfast or lunch programs. The produce may also be a part of nutrition education activities. Nutrition education. The best practice is to provide nutrition education whenever possible. The focus of the fresh fruit and vegetable program is to bring fresh produce into the school for distribution to children. For many children, the produce they see in school might be their first exposure to fresh fruits and vegetables, or the only ones they see that day. This is why nutrition education is critical to the program's success. Educating students on the produce they are consuming is a great way to build acceptance and participation of the produce you are introducing. Studies have also shown that by exposing children to new foods, they overcome picky eating behaviors, which is largely encountered at the elementary school age. It may take up to 12 introductions to a new food before a child will decide to try it. Just remember to be patient and keep trying. Be a role model and make food experiences fun and educational. When planning nutrition education and activities, consider collaborating with internal and external partners and stakeholders. Partnerships have been essential in the success of the program and can help schools better manage the program, resolve logistical challenges, and help maintain and implement the nutrition education component. A few best practices for incorporating nutrition education can include developing nutrition activities that fit your students' age and grade level, build relationships with partners to assist with nutrition education, resources, and materials. Partners can include extension offices, FFA and 4-H programs, farmers, producers, dietitians, nonprofit entities, parents, and the community. Involve students to help create posters and materials. It can be a great nutrition education lesson. Include nutrition education and fresh fruit and vegetable program promotion in monthly newsletters, publications, or even on social media. And highlight the program availability, the produce for the month, what you're serving for Tasty Tuesday, and a new variety being served. Food safety. Fruits and vegetables are an important part of a healthy diet, and as we emphasize the importance of serving and consuming fresh produce within our schools, we must ensure produce safety is a top priority. To prevent the contamination of fresh produce, food safety strategies must be implemented during all stages of the process. The first step in ensuring the produce you receive is safe is to always know your source and purchase from reputable suppliers. Upon receiving, ensure staff are trained to properly inspect, accept, or decline all deliveries. Staff must be trained to verify receiving temperatures, expiration dates, produce quality, and invoices and documentation. Follow proper storage procedures and ensure you follow recommended storage temperatures for the various produce items. As always, ensure items are properly covered, labeled, and dated. When handling fresh produce, remember no bare hand contact with ready-to-eat foods. Always wash produce under cool running water in the appropriate produce sink. When preparing fresh produce, ensure food safety principles are followed. are followed, such as proper hand washing, cleaning and sanitizing of all equipment and workstations, prevention of cross-contamination, and maintaining adequate time and temperatures. When transporting produce, remember to follow basic food safety practices to ensure food is safe and follow all state and local food safety standards. To ensure proper equipment is utilized and time and temperature is closely monitored and recorded. At the end of service, staff must ensure leftover produce and supplies from the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program service are received and documented. In order to prevent a foodborne illness from occurring, it is your responsibility to ensure food safety and HACCP procedures are in place and staff are in compliance. Staff should be trained when they are first hired and on an ongoing basis. As a reminder, please always contact your local health department with questions concerning state and local compliance. Procurement is a multi-step process for obtaining goods, products, and/or services at the best possible price. Procurement policies and procedures must be followed when purchasing fresh produce for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. The state of Louisiana has waived the small purchase threshold when purchasing local agricultural products, and therefore small quotes can be used for produce that is less than $250,000. Geographic preference. Institutions receiving funds through the CNP may apply for a geographic preference when procuring unprocessed, locally grown, or raised agricultural products. While legislation permits institutions to apply geographic preference, it is not required. However, you should purchase local to the maximum extent practical and appropriate. Excuse me. The Buy American provision requires schools to purchase the maximum extent practical domestic products. A domestic product means an agricultural product that is processed in the United States, substantially using agricultural products that are produced in the United States. Purchases made in accordance with the Buy American provision must still follow the applicable procurement rules, calling for free and open competition. SFAs should include a Buy American clause in all product specifications, solicitations, purchase orders, and any other procurement documents, so vendors are aware of this requirement. Limited exceptions to the Buy American provision allow for purchase of products not meeting the domestic standard. However, before utilizing an exception, alternatives must be considered. Alternative or exceptions to the Buy American provision may be approved by the SFA. However, documentation must be on file explaining the reasoning for the alternative or exception. Such reasoning could include, number one, the product is not produced in the manufacturers in the United States in sufficient and reasonable quantities. Or number two, competitive bids reveal costs of a U.S. product are significantly higher than the non-domestic product. With the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, it is encouraged to introduce children to new exotic varieties. As a reminder, if using one of these exceptions, documentation must be kept on file. Each awarded school will be allocated a different sum based on enrollment. Allocations are determined based on a student threshold of $50 to $75 per student. The grant award period. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is a grant-based program, and funds are awarded per school. Schools operating the program will receive a grant allocation, which is intended to cover all program expenses throughout the school year. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program operates during USDA's fiscal year, which is October 1st to September 30th, which is different from the NSLP SVP school year. Under the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, a set allocation is awarded to the schools at the beginning of the school year and must be utilized in its entirety throughout the year. It is imperative to maintain a budget to ensure all Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program funds are tracked and expended in a timely manner. The award should be able to fund the program throughout the school year. Adjustments may be made to service days and portion sizes if money needs to be spent faster or slower. Any money spent that exceeds a school's award cannot be reimbursed by the state agency and will have to be paid for by the district. Fresh fruit and vegetable program costs are broken into two categories, operating and administrative. Both categories allow for labor and equipment costs. However, there are slight differences between the two. Operating costs include costs for running the program, such as set preparation and service, in addition to small ware purchases. Administrative costs include costs for planning, oversight, and management, in addition to large equipment purchases. Administrative costs cannot exceed 10% of the school's total allocation. Administrative costs are limited to 10% of your school's total fresh fruit and vegetable program grant. Administrative costs include planning the program, managing paperwork, and large equipment purchases or leases. Any single item more than $250 must be approved through the equipment justification form. The justification should explain the need for the additional equipment, why the current equipment is not sufficient, how many times the fresh fruit and vegetable program will be offered each week, and any other information that will support the purchase. If the equipment is being used for other school feeding programs, the purchase must be prorated among the programs. For example, if a new refrigerator was purchased and it will be used for the fresh fruit and vegetable program 25% of the time, only 25% of the cost may be claimed. Operational costs are the costs of running your fresh fruit and vegetable service. You can include buying, preparing, and serving fresh fruits and vegetables, low-fat, non-fat dip for vegetables only. Buying non-food items like napkins, paper plates, serving bowls and trays, cleaning supplies, and trash bags. Value-added services such as pre-cut produce and salary and fringe benefits for employees who are involved with prepping, distributing, setting up, and restocking, and cleaning up the fresh fruit and vegetable program. Operational and administrative labor costs should be reported in the claim month for which the hours are worked. The labor that is reported must include the hours worked during the fresh fruit and vegetable program for that month multiplied by the pay rate. The pay rate does include the benefits. Most of a school's fresh fruit and vegetable funds must go toward purchasing fresh fruits and vegetables. All non-food costs must be carefully reviewed and deemed reasonable, given the extent of the program operations. Labor costs should be minimal in both the operating and administrative categories and only cover time spent on the fresh fruit and vegetable program related tasks. It is recommended that all labor claimed to be documented on the timesheet or a comparable reporting document. Inaccurate reporting and lack of sufficient documentation may result in denied reimbursement. If schools purchase equipment for the fresh fruit and vegetable program, they must provide written justification to support the purchase. For example, the justification should explain the need for additional equipment and why the current equipment is not sufficient for the fresh fruit and vegetable operations. Maintain all fresh fruit and vegetable program documentation for 3 years plus the current year. Documentation is to include, but not limited to, purchase orders, invoices, and receipts, contracts, timesheets, health inspections, nutrition education, promotions and activities, production records, and menus. Financial management best practices to consider are to, number 1, establish a monthly fresh fruit and vegetable budget. Number 2, ensure administrative funds remain under 10% of the school's allocation. And number 3, labor hours for the fresh fruit and vegetable program should average no more than 1 to 2 hours per service day per day. It is important to spend all of your fresh fruit and vegetable program grant funds. If funds are left over, they must be returned to USDA. The goal is to utilize 100% of your grant funds. If you are noticing you need to cut back on spending or need to increase spending here are some of the best practices to consider. Number 1, host a tasting event. Bring in new and exotic varieties. Number 2, host an end of the year or kickoff fresh fruit and vegetable celebration. Number 3, increase the number of fresh fruit and vegetable program operating days. Number 4, increase the portion sizes. Number 5, look at opportunities to enhance and improve the fresh fruit and vegetable program operations, such as purchasing harvest baskets, ice pillows, fruit slicers, etc. Number 6, verify fresh fruit and vegetable program labor is efficiently being tracked and claimed. Number 7, highlight local produce and the seasonal harvest. These best practices mostly address how to spend funds. However, some can be reversed to help reduce costs if needed, such as reducing serving days and portion sizes. Claims for reimbursement. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program claim for reimbursement must reflect invoices from when you buy, not when you serve. If you make a purchase toward the end of the month and the food isn't served until the next month, the claim list must list the correct invoice date. Claims are submitted by site, and reimbursement must be submitted within 60 days following the close of the claiming month. Keep in mind, this is 60 days, not 2 months. If you have to make an adjustment to your claim, the adjustment must also occur within the 60 days of the close of the claiming month. Only direct costs can be claimed. General administrative or central office costs may not be claimed. It is important to note that funds cannot be transferred between sites within a district. Now let's review a few tips for preparing for your administrative review. Off-site review procedures include validating one claim for reimbursement for each fresh fruit and vegetable program school selected for review. The reviewer will verify that a majority of the fresh fruit and vegetable program funds are used to purchase fresh produce, that equipment purchases are justified and properly prorated, that labor and non-food costs are minimal, that administrative costs are within 10% of the school's total grant, and that claims are submitted on time and accurate. On-site review procedures include observing the fresh fruit and vegetable program operation for each site indicated. The reviewer will ensure that the fresh fruit and vegetable program is provided to all eligible students free of charge and widely publicized throughout the school. The reviewer will ensure that the fresh fruit and vegetable program service op occurs during the school day and is not served during another CNP program, that all allowable items are served, that all food safety and HACCP principles are followed. They will also verify any nutrition education for cooked or prepared produce items, and will verify any dips served are low fat or non-fat and only served with vegetables. This is a list of a few of the USDA program resources. Okay, are there any questions? Trondra is here with us today. So if you have any questions, she's our Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program administrator, so she'll be more than happy to answer anything you have. Okay, if there aren't any questions, thank you all. Oh. Yes, the fresh fruit and vegetable program is outside of the NSLP.
Hi, guys. This is Sister Ann here in the diocese. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just from my understanding, the fresh fruit and vegetable program is outside of the National Lunch Program, correct? This is an addition to it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, well, if there are no other questions, thank you all for attending today and joining us. We hope to see you all soon.